I think for the first time in a long time, Cowboys fans are more excited to see what the Dallas defense has to offer more than the offense. Usually we have to worry about the defensive side of the ball holding up and just hope that it isn't so bad the offense can't recover. I mean, just 3 years ago in 2020, we saw one of the franchise's worst defenses in all of its history. I'm sure you guys remember. It was downright bad. But in 2023, the team has youth and depth like we haven't seen in years. A lot of that can be attributed to how well the team has drafted that side of the ball in recent memory. Micah Parsons, Trevon Diggs, Osa Ohdigizuwa, Damone Clark, Daron Bland, Donovan Wilson, the list goes on and on. Duron Bland was a late round pick just a year ago and turned out to be one of Dallas's best corners. So could the team do it again? Can they draft a late round pick on defense that could make an impact this season? Well, people around the organization seem to think so, with rookie cornerback Eric Scott Jr. out of Southern Miss. When Dan Quinn tells you he's excited about a player, I think it's important to listen. So let's get into the video. We've talked about it in one of my previous videos and how the Cowboys hit on a late round cornerback in Daron Bland. Anthony Brown went down with an injury, Jordan Lewis as well, and that forced Daron Bland to play. And to see him play so well was a big shock because you don't typically see late round corners emerge like he did. We're early into the process this year and there are already whispers about the Cowboys potentially hitting on another late round corner, which could really help out this room even more. Flashback to the last day of the 2023 draft when the Cowboys traded a 5th round pick in 2024 to move up and select a corner out of Southern Miss in Eric Scott Jr. People that I follow on Twitter were not happy with this selection. Some analysts didn't even have him ranked inside of their top 40 corners in the draft. Others knew who he was and still thought that late round pick was a reach. NFL.com had him ranked as a priority free agent, meaning that his draft grade wasn't even draftable. And honestly, with late round picks, who really knows at that point anyway? So when the Cowboys rookie minicamps and OTAs started up at the beginning of June, there were a couple of reports trickling out about the rookie corner. On June 3rd, an article by Inside the Star was published talking about Scott getting first team reps in OTAs. Granted, that was without Gilmore, Diggs, and Wright practicing, but it seemed like a step in the right direction for Scott. While we can't put too much stock into that, a comment from Dan Quinn really caught my attention. Todd Archer, who does great work for the Cowboys, reported a conversation that he had with the Cowboys defensive coordinator, and Quinn said, "When you see a guy wanting the moment to go compete, like, you know, I'm balling my fist up and saying, I ain't leaving here, that's what I'm looking for specifically for the rookies." That kind of mindset and attitude is really what it takes for a young player to assert themselves into those moments, because that responsibility is really going to say, hey man, can we count on you when it's there? Them learning to do that early on, that's a big deal. Knowing the amount of work that goes in to say, I'm down for this challenge, I've seen that from Eric so far. It seems like Dan Quinn has seen enough to feel comfortable throwing the young guy's name out there, and that's a really good sign. Coaches don't typically just fling names around just to do it. So it seems like Dan Quinn likes what he's seen so far from the young pick. Even if Scott doesn't get a ton of reps this season, a player that is already showing up as a late round rookie and impressing the defensive coordinator is a good sign. Of course, we are still super early into the process and he's going to have to continue this positive trajectory into and throughout Cowboys training camp. We do know the Cowboys love their draft picks, so we can assume he's pretty safe making the 53, but I really want to see him earn it during camp. He's definitely a player that we should all keep an eye on when camp rolls around in just under a month. The reason I bring him up is because of a future projection with the Cowboys cornerback room. That position group could get really thin in a hurry, so having guys to develop could be really important just a year from now. Stephon Gilmore is likely a 1-year rental and on the back end of his career. Jordan Lewis only has 1 year left on his deal and has already been identified as a potential trade candidate. And the Cowboys still haven't signed Diggs to a long-term deal. So that group could get really thin a year from now. And they're going to need young and developed players to step up. And of course, be ready this year if injuries were to pile up like we saw in 2022. So I've been trying to make player previews for all of these young guys. I know you guys enjoy them. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you drop a like and comment on the video. I love you all. Bye.
Go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave.